Good sticks, everyone. Welcome to the Captain Avalanche Fancast, your unofficial source for all things Colorado Avalanche hockey and more from a fan perspective. Hosted by me, Captain Avalanche Corey, and I love you, but I hate you, Dom. Now, we're no insiders. We're not inside the locker room face-to-face with our favorite players, but we hope to create a relatable and welcoming environment because we're just like all of you listening. Fans. Fans with a deep passion for the game of hockey, and in this case, the Colorado Avalanche. The Marty Party goes on in Colorado. Did the Avs pay too much? Does the guy in the ballerina bathroom know all? Do you want to hear my opinion on it? Of course you do. That's why you're here. Has every performance the Avs given this season been perfect? No. But are they playing exceptionally against top teams? Yes. To be the best, you gotta beat the best, and we've got plenty to talk about as the Avs took on and took down the Titans in the West and East. The Sharks have a lot to be happy about this week. A lot more than I'd like them to be happy about. But the time has come that the Sharks and Avs have played each other for the first and only time in the Shark Tank. And if you don't know what happened, boy, will I emphatically tell you about it, and Dom will happily tell you about it. Speaking of which, Dom is going to teach you all about hockey pucks, and yes, you need to know this information. Now, is Brent Burns the second coming of Cale Makar? I know you want to hear all of this. Also, if you're not following our social media accounts, you really should, because we're posting more and more on there now with game day posts and hilarious meme recaps of game highlights. Check us out. Captain Avalanche Fancast on Instagram and YouTube, soon to expand to other platforms as well. Martin,
well, before we dive in tonight, Corey, I just want to say, I just want to say thank you for inviting me to join you and the family once again. Game last night or 2 nights ago, when all of you are listening to this, it was a very fun game to watch with you all for the Ab Lightning. And yeah, I love you. No hate here, but I understand. And it's going to be great to talk about the Sharks and Avs. And listen up, all you Avs fans, we'll get to it. But the Avalanche are undefeated when I am with Corey at the game. So good news is that this Sharks game might not have gone the way you wanted. More on that later. But there's 2 more opportunities in Ball Arena that, well, I guess if the streak keeps up, they're going to go very well for all of you Avs fans.
I know, because for those of you who don't know, Dom and I are attending both Sharks games at Ball Arena together this year. And yes, you are very welcome, Dom. We are always happy to have you tag along with us. And of course, you are that good luck charm that is bringing us the victories when we are on home ice, which is what I asked him. I said, well, we're always winning whenever you're here, and we recounted all the games we had been to together, and yes, they are all victories. What does that mean when the Avs play the Sharks on home ice? I guess we've already found out since we've watched it happen together before, but I don't know. I think this year it might be a little bit more interesting, but hopefully we catch Askarov or Nedeljkovic on an off night, but we will see. But there is a party in Colorado, Dom. Did you know that? There's a party going on right now. Do you happen to know what that party is?
You know, I am so happy about this party. It's very fun to be a part of. So, but this is your party, or it's not your party, but I am your +1 to this party. So please tell all the listeners about this party.
Well, in case you missed it, it's the Marty Party, and that's that Martin Necas has re-signed. They did it. The sons of bitches actually did it. The Colorado Avalanche have re-signed Martin Necas for less than $12 million, and well before the trade deadline or before the media could go ape shit with the story anymore. Is Martin Necas happy in Colorado? Will the Colorado Avalanche trade Martin Necas? Blah, blah, blah. We don't got to hear it anymore. We can finally live in peace. The Avalanche have extended Martin Necas for 8 years at an annual average value of $11.5 million. The Marty Party will go on in Colorado with the Avalanche, and it is the correct move for this team. Hold on, everybody. The Avalanche faithful have had nothing but positive reactions to this news, myself included. and it simply comes as a huge relief to everyone. It is no longer a distraction for the fan base, and it isn't a distraction for the team or the player. Everyone can simply be dialed in on the mission of bringing the cup back to Colorado. Would you have liked to have seen slightly less? Maybe. But the Logan Cooley deal in Utah at 8x10 was what inspired these talks to really get moving, it was reported. I don't think it's an overpay, though. I truly believe Marty Necas is about to demonstrate that he can take himself to the next level required of him, and I agree that the real proof of the pudding will come in the playoffs. I think he will easily live up to these numbers in the regular season and have multiple 100-point seasons, and if not 100-point, 90 plus. But he does need to prove it when it counts. Not to mention, though, in 4 years, 11.5 is going to seem like pittance in the grand scheme of a rising salary cap. What did we say, Dom? We were talking about it last night. In 4 years, well, 4 years, it'll be like at 120 million, or is that 3 years? And then in 8, it'll be, gosh, with no signs of slowing down, like 180, 200. And that's just guessing, right? We're just pulling those numbers out of our ass.
Yeah, I think I said in a decade from now, if we looked at 2035, would it be crazy to say that we hit a 200 million salary cap with just how fast it's been growing? If revenues keep up, if it continues that trend, it's certainly possible. We have absolutely no legitimate math or anything backing this.
Zero basis.
Zero basis, but it feels like a very real possibility just with how much it's been jumping year on year and is already projected to jump in the next 3 years.
I mean, I guess not zero basis. I mean, we know the projected cap rise for the next few years. So, again, I don't think it's wholly out of the question that we're approaching those numbers by the time, 8 years, 10 years goes by. It also goes to show, though, what the guy in the ball arena bathroom knows. He certainly had a few beverages, but stated an incorrect fact that the Avalanche had initially offered Necas $9 million. It was actually 10.5, and that he, the fan who is obviously the GM of the Colorado Avalanche, wouldn't take Necas over 9 and wouldn't give him any more money. While the Avalanche have demonstrated that they're not afraid to trade any player, my response is that you absolutely would take Necas over 9, and they did. Not only because his speed and playstyle complements the Avs system and playing with McKinnon perfectly, but answer me these questions. Let's say you want to trade Necas, and you want to trade him for a top 6 winger of equal skill who were signed for less. Who out there is that? And what team is parting with that player? It would be a lateral move at best, and at worst, you end up with a worse player and some picks because of it. It simply made no sense for the Avs to skimp on this deal. The other half of it is the media is now running with Necas only signed for $500K less than Rantanen did. Who would you rather have? Would I want Rantanen? Yeah, he's the better all-around player, but we're here now. There's no takebacks, and for the future of this club, and younger Necas is the right choice. This is also implying that Rantanen was going to sign for 12 with Colorado, which he was not going to do. We cannot change where we are now. We are here, and the Marty Party era in Colorado starts now.
And you said a couple great things there, Corey, because especially with the Rantanen contract number, the Texas tax laws versus Colorado make 12 million much more feasible for him down there. But we all know he was wanting more from Colorado. If he was willing to take 12, they would have gotten the deal done. So that is part of the problem right there, is the number looks like 500K, but in reality, we all know it would have been a bigger gap. And you said something else, is the younger Necas. Personally, I think Marty fits in better with the Avs scheme and the style of play. I'm not a homer, so I don't have any allegiance to either one of them. But if it's me, the younger player who is still ascending, we haven't seen his true ceiling, and he has started the year on fire and plays so well off of McKinnon. And I know McKinnon makes anybody good, but the style, the speed, we witnessed it. I'd rather have the Marty Party. And I know we still need to see it in the playoffs, but I think this is a phenomenal signing. It's the right thing to do. And even if they were to have tried to make a move for someone else, that chemistry is just going to have to reset all over again. Now that we've finished last season and he can start the season fresh, have a whole off season working with McKinnon, I think that's part of why he's gotten off to a lightning quick start.
And it makes me laugh with how much people took the Necas is not happy in Colorado. One person wrote that article. It was Nick Kiprios, for anybody wondering. And it was either a miscue on what Necas said, or, he's taking what he said and completely twisting its meaning. What I assumed, and I said this before, what Necas probably meant was he wasn't happy that he lost with Colorado. Nobody likes losing in the playoffs. That sucks. But that doesn't mean he's ultimately dissatisfied with being here in Colorado. And fuck, this deal proves that point. He's not, the player has some agency in this. He's not just going to sign an 8-year contract and somewhere where he's going to be miserable. If he changes his mind down the road, sure, he can get traded. But he also has a no-move clause. So the team can't trade him anyway. He would have to have that decision regardless. So it's just funny to me, all the people who are like, oh, Necas isn't happy in Colorado. Colorado's going to trade Necas, blah, 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 blah. This one, I knew that they were going to get done. I do think it was a lot more imperative. And you didn't want to see what happened with Rantanen twice. You didn't want to put the fans through that a second time. You didn't want to put the team through that a second time. So, like I said, it's nice to not have that on people's minds. I'm sure almost the same, definitely not of quite the same magnitude, but the same as, Oilers fans with the McDavid contract. So it feels good to be like, okay, we really don't got to think about anybody, and we can't even re-sign Kale until the end of the season anyway. So let's go for it. We have all the pieces in place now. Let's push as hard as we can. So that part of it, I'm very happy about.
And you get the all-important 8th year in the final year before the new CBA goes into effect next year, that the maximum term is going to be 7 years. You have him for that 8th year. So if he really wanted to push, he would have tried to wait, try to stall. He wouldn't have signed for 8, like you said, Corey. So he absolutely proved he wanted to be here. He silenced all the haters and the pundits who were just throwing their thoughts and their unsubstantiated projections out there. And now we all have the answer that I think you and I, Corey, hoped for and expected, and the Avs are going to be better off for it.
Yep. And I mean, before I move on to my next part or point here, or next section rather, I just want to make it clear, like I don't have any hate towards Rantanen. Again, I understand the drama of the whole thing. And I mean, ultimately, do I fully know what he was asking of the Avs and what the Avs are asking for him? No, not really. I have to trust what articles and reporters have said to me, which obviously, as we just discussed, is not always something that can be taken fully or has to be taken with a grain of salt. So everybody has had something to say on the matter. And would I love to have Mikko Rantanen still here in Colorado? Yes, I genuinely would love to have him here. He is one of my favorite all-time Avalanche players because he's who I grew up watching. When I first started getting into hockey, he was there. He was part of that, 2016 worst team. And he was there to boost the rise all the way through to the Stanley Cup era. So, I mean, I love that guy. And it pains me. It genuinely pains me to watch the Dallas Stars every time. First of all, because I hate their team, but now I get to see one of my all-time favorite players in Dallas shit green. So it sucks, but we don't have to continue to dwell on that. I love Mikko Rantanen. If there was a way for him to still be in Colorado, I would love that. But I also do really like Marty Necas. Him and Nathan MacKinnon have an absolutely electric chemistry going on right now, and I mean it is a McDry duo right now to be feared. A Macus. What would you call the Necas McKinnon duo? Macus? Knack? Man, it just doesn't flow as good as McDry, does it?
I mean, no, it really doesn't. I mean, you might have to go with the first names, Martin and Nathan. There's there's something there.
Okay. Well,
but
if anybody out there,
how about the listeners help us out with some ideas in the comments?
If anybody out there, has a better idea, the attack party, Mac Attack and Marty Party, the attack party. If anybody has a better idea out there, please shoot us an email. Please message us, DM us, whatever. We need something better that we can coin here for the Marty Necas and Nathan McKinnon duo. So please hit us up. But we will go ahead and jump into our next section here because we want to talk about the games. To be the best, you gotta beat the best. Before, though, I even start talking about these games, we have to talk about this scheduling. A little bit of a mini complaint corner here, and I complain about scheduling a lot every year, but my God, who is in charge of this? Now, I understand. There is a lot of complexities that go into forming the NHL schedule. You have to align all of the teams together to play multiple times. You have to compete with other sports' schedules to prevent overlap, and I mean like TVs with, you know, the NFL is mainly Sundays and Monday nights and Thursday nights. And then, you know, you have some teams that share arenas with basketball and lacrosse teams. Not to mention that there are concerts and other events that counts for every single NHL team. However, it simply does not compute that the Avalanche play back-to-back Friday and Saturday, then play Tuesday, then have to wait all the way until mind you, both of those back-to-back was away. Then Tuesday's back at home. Then they have to wait all the way until Saturday to play another back-to-back away from Ball Arena, with both of those games starting 8 p.m. local time. Wow, means there are guys who need rest, but come on. Dom, I also know that you had some grievances about this as well.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not as frustrated as you. It's just up around the NHL, like you said. But the Sharks are tied, or one of the teams. I think there's 3 teams that have a total of 16 back-to-backs on the year.
That's 32 games. That's a third of the fucking schedule on back-to-backs.
More than, yeah. And we've already had one of those on the road with the Rangers, followed up by the Devils on that road trip east. Awful. We've had one with travel, I believe, with Utah, and then a game at home. So it's frustrating. It is what it is. Sometimes they've played better on the front end. Sometimes they've played better on the back end. So respect to them. Respect to all the players who do this, showing their athleticism and the recovery to be able to go back to back and sometimes have travel in between there. I do appreciate with some of those, if you are going to be on the road, ones that it's a bus trip rather than a flight. So with the Rangers and Devils ones, that's, you know, it's a little bit easier, similar to a home one if you're going to do a back-to-back, but of course you can't sleep in your own bed. So it's hard on these people as humans. I feel like that's important. It's just imagine having to go out there, and run, like, whatever is your toughest form of exercise that you can imagine for yourself as an individual. Imagine having to do that back-to-back days. Like, if you're a runner, and imagine you're running a marathon in back-to-back days, right? If you're a football player and you play once a week, imagine playing on Sunday night and then Monday night. Like, it's a lot. And this is a very physical sport. It's a very demanding sport. So when we get upset about it, it's not just because we want our teams to do well, but because we recognize, I think we all should recognize how hard this is for the players who have to endure the season.
Yes, exactly. Also, can I just say, with the Rangers, who suffered their 4th shutout at MSG last night, and who are 0-5-1 on home ice, the Rangers have only managed to score 6 goals at home, and 5 of those goals are against the San Jose Sharks. Which means, out of all other games, they scored 1. Oh.
And they still lost to us. That's the best part.
That's the crazy part. They still lost. Oh, that's just...
I don't know. Maybe it's the bad vibes and all the shit from last year that we were talking about. I mean, who knows? I mean, the pressure has to be building up. Some players talk about you can play more free on the road. You don't have that pressure of playing well for your own fans. You can just go out there and play. But I just feel like there's been
Fuck,
so much
dude.
drama around the Rangers' expectations that have not been met. And it's just continuing to get worse with every loss.
Everybody who's buying tickets to those fucking games at MSG deserve a refund. I understand teams get shut out sometimes. There was a period where the Avs got shut out like 2 games back to back last year, and it was really frustrating. By the Penguins, no less. But, bro, 4 games at home where your team can't manage to score a fucking goal? My God, I'd be pissed. Because we talk about that, where sports is the ultimate, ultimate thing that you spend money on of uncertainty. You never know what the result is going to be. We spend money to go and watch the games. We don't know how they're going to turn out. We can fucking pay all that money just for our teams to lose. That sucks, but that's just how it is. But my God, imagine if you're, a partial season ticket holder, and those are the games you pick to go to, depending on how your team operates that. And you go to all those games. You don't see your team score a single goal? I want my fucking money back. Speaking of goals, though, just wanted to drop this out there. Alex Ovechkin has reached 900 career NHL regular season goals. And I just want to point out to anybody who may be confused, that is the only player to ever do that. No Wayne Gretzky, no nothing. Alex Ovechkin stands alone at the top as the only player in NHL history to hit 900 goals. So just wanted to point that out because, wow.
Yeah, and he's just continuing to extend the record.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like for those of you who've been listening, you followed along last year while we were counting up as he tried to catch and pass Gretzky. And now it's just how far can he go? How many more can he lay down to set the new marker? And then how long will his record stand? And that's always what will it be the test of time, or how long will he be able to go to extend it? And it's just always so impressive because you think about, I mean, how old is he? Is he 38, 39 at this point? He's not crossed 40 yet,
no,
has he?
I think he's 40.
Wow. So can you imagine what we were talking about? The physicality.
He's 40, yeah.
At that age, still going at 40 and scoring goals to lead the entire NHL history. We can't say enough superlatives. There are not words to describe this effectively, just how much of an accomplishment this is, and we all should be grateful that we get to witness it in our own time.
Yeah, and the other crazy thing is Sidney Crosby is on pace for 100 points this season at 38 years old. So, wow. Anyway, let's jump into some of these games here because we could definitely go on all night about the crazy achievements of the old men of the NHL. And we have our own old man to talk about here with the Avalanche. So, anyways, the Avalanche only played 3 games since the last time we were all together, and I have to say, I'm pretty happy with this team. Except for that one game. But, oh God, I lost my place. But to beat the 2 powerhouses from each conference has to be a massive confidence booster. If people aren't picking the Avalanche right now, they're picking Vegas to go deep in the playoffs, and for good reason. That $13.5 million for Jack Eichel is looking really nice right about now, and Pavel Dorofeev picked up exactly where he left off last year, absolutely potting goals. Mark Stone is injured again, along with some other key players, but it doesn't fucking matter because Vegas just has the right way of combining players together just to make their depth unfair on both ends of the ice. The only minor complaint is Mitch Marner, except when I looked this up, not really, because despite not scoring a ton of goals, he's second on the team in points because he's just setting up dudes just as he did in Toronto with all the apples. Apples means assists.
Apple machine.
Yeah, dead ass. He has like 14. Just an all-around good player who can thrive on his own. But I'm not here to beat off Vegas because Vegas is a villain. Fuck you, Rico. That's right, I remembered.
Oh, I was about to say it. I wasn't sure if I should jump in.
I remembered. Fuck you, Rico. The villain of the NHL, the villain of the NHL, and every villain needs a hero to take them down. And that was the Avalanche. This truly felt like a complete effort from the Avs from front to back. The scariest part of this Halloween matinee was the refereeing. I try not to complain as I feel the human element and judgment of the game of hockey is an important aspect to the game, and It should never be replaced by robots or cameras. After all, these narrow offside reviews are something we've spoken about ad nauseum, but I digress. The whistle use, however, was liberal in this game, to say the least, in favor of the Golden Knights, and yet the Avalanche penalty kill held firm. It took a 5-on-3 later into the third period for Vegas to finally break through, and a fluky goal off of Brent Burns from the aforementioned Marner for Vegas to even make it close. But if that's what it takes for teams to break through on the Avs, I'll take it. 5-on-5, the Avalanche once again controlled the flow of play and was only interrupted by the constant whistles. I'll always agree with a good call, but some of them felt a little soft or unnecessary, as in, let the boys play. And there were, of course, missed ones in favor of the Avs, who only had 2 opportunities on the night, but the Avalanche finally got to play on Halloween, and Marty Necas made the most of it by scoring in the first minute of the game. And that's how you start the game off on the right foot, and how you start off a new contract on the right foot. Brock Nelson adds another to extend the lead as his offense has started to pick up. He is a bit behind his usual goal pace, only on pace for about 18 right now, but that second line has started to click, and I'm still pretty confident that the second line will end the season with a respectable amount of productivity, especially with Colton now clicking, Valeri Nichushkin's starting to pot his goals as he does. But going on to the defensive side, Brent Burns made up for the fact that one went off his ankle previously in the game by taking the advice of his teammates and jumping up in the play and wiring one home for his first in an Avalanche uniform. The Avalanche defense is known for this quality and consistently leads the NHL in points by defensemen for a good margin. I need to cough. Hold on. But back to Burns. He won't get a lot of points, but I honestly have been pleasantly surprised by his play night in and night out. He isn't the biggest presence on the ice like he used to be in his prime, although physically he is still quite large, but it really seems like he's come to understand how to adjust his game and adapt with his age. He also still has the hands of an artisan and vision like an eagle, which I want to talk more about in the Tampa game, but Burns has just been consistent in his play every night. He's absolutely an upgrade over Keaton Middleton, whom we love, and he still plays with full effort and intensity every night. He's never taking a shift off and is always giving his all on both ends and just being smart with the puck and using the tools in his tool bag to his advantage. He, in my mind, particularly flexed this against a talented Tampa opponent. Now, Dom, before we get into the game that we went to together where we can both speak highly on this team, was there anything else you wanted to add about Brent Burns? I have more to say about him because I'm definitely glazing him this week, rightfully so, but you grew up watching Brent Burns, so anything else you want to add about the bearded wonder?
I mean, I'm always on the glazing Burns train, but I think the big thing is, or what you're saying in essence is, he's stable, dependable, sturdy as a rock. He has always been good, able to get back into position. He's always been able to be counted on. And sure, in the days of the Sharks, was he firing the puck a lot more? Was he faster and able to get back and stop a 2-on-1 all by himself when it was starting out looking like a 2-on-0? But you don't need that from him anymore. And he is still just as dependable. He just doesn't get caught out of position. He jumps up into the play when he can, where he can, but not overly aggressive. And there is that refinement to his game where he knows his own limitations so that he looks every bit as fast and talented out there where he's moving, when he's moving, because he's picking his moments. So I think this is your chance tonight to really hype him up. I'm sure I will have my moments to compliment him when we get to the talk about the Lightning game. But I think that's really what it comes down to, is he's always been dependable to be what you need, where you need, when you need him, no matter what that role has been throughout his career.
Yeah. And for those who don't know, Brent Burns started out as a forward, just FYI. So interesting stuff. And then has become one of the best defensemen in history. Yeah.
I just have to interrupt because for those who didn't realize, in my other ear, I have the Sharks at Seattle Kraken, the Battle of the Deep. The Sharks Mr. Macklin Celebrini. Macklin, I think we need to do this, Sharks fans. He needs to be Macklin the Meg because the Mac is already taken. So he's just going to be the most feared of all Sharks. I'm just saying I'm starting that right now, and I don't care if people think it's dumb. Macklin the Meg Celebrini putting the goal home 1:08 into the game.
God.
First shot on goal of the game. Fuck you, Seattle. Let's go.
I know. I was going to say, I need your boys to take Seattle down a few pegs right now. Oh, hold on. I got to watch this replay real quick. Take a look at this.
We silenced their fans real quick.
Oh, are you guys in Seattle?
Yep.
Oh, even better. I love that. You want to know what pisses me off? As I already know when we go to play Seattle is they're going to boo Cale Makar again, and that always annoys me every single year. Oh, great. I just broke my stream. Okay, well, we will see that replay later. Oh, they're wearing their glow-in-the-dark jerseys, though. These things are so fucking sick. All right, anyway. Moving along. Jesus. Sorry, everybody. Everything's breaking. Okay, moving on. Well, it's great that you said when we talk about the Lightning, because that time is right now. It's no longer spooky season, but the Avalanche had to face down a scary opponent in the white-hot Lightning in a 2022 rematch. That is always a fun one every year. The Lightning, after having an identical record to the Sharks to start the year, have picked up to be the team that I and most everyone else expected them to be. And they are also finding ways to win games, which they did against... They are also finding ways to win games, which they did against the equally as hot Utah Mammoth, who I think lost to the Leafs tonight, unless something happened in the last 3 minutes that I didn't get to see. As of recently,
I'll check that for you.
Thank you. As of recently, the Lightning have been getting the better of the Avalanche, especially last year with the inconsistent goaltending. So with the improved depth, goaltending, and defensive play, I was hoping that the Avalanche would seek to change that narrative. They almost didn't, as just like against Boston, the Avalanche made a crucial mistake down low, and no one knew where the puck was except for the worst possible option in Nikita Kucherov, who tucked the puck into bed for an early one. If anybody wants to know who my mom's favorite all-time hockey player is, it's Nikita Kucherov. She loves Nikita Kucherov. I'm kidding. Don't send her pictures of Nikita Kucherov. Yes?
I think that was one of my favorite parts of the whole game is at the start, I was asking her, so Bernsey is out there on the ice. Who is he accidentally decapitating? And she didn't have an answer. And then Nikita Kucherov was on the ice. And I turned to her and I said, I think Burns should go after Kucherov, and that should be the person who becomes the new headless horseman. And she was like, oh yeah, that sounds like a great plan. So that was just one of my favorite moments of the game.
Oh boy, I'm glad. Yes, my mom is not a fan of Nikita Kucherov. I disagree that the Avalanche started the game slow, as I thought that they were moving well around the ice. However, Tampa was simply playing better throughout the first and just easily got pucks through the neutral zone uncontested and up the ice. The Avs were trying to counter, but it looked like there was miscommunications on the ice, and passing was a particular issue. Crazy thought that, and this was after the fact, I want to point out, when the Lightning began to cycle the Avs, maybe don't let Kucherov be in his favorite area of the ice uncontested. And that's, what would you say, kind of in the middle of the circle on the right side of the ice, I would say, right kind of in that face-off dot area. Him and Draisaitl have a very similar place that they like to stand, so just watch those two. They both really like it in that spot. However, the Avalanche got basically back-to-back power plays to begin rounding out the first period, and the first power play almost ended up in a shorthanded goal, and it looked like Tampa was on the power play instead, and that happened, unfortunately, multiple times throughout the night. But once the Avs got set up, they did do a great job moving the puck quickly and getting it on net. But the first power play seemed like it should have scored, but didn't execute. But then the second one picked up right where the first left off, and the Avs used that power play the way that it's meant to be used. They tied the game by getting the puck to Vasi, and in one of the rare instances where he couldn't hold the rebound, Victor Gorlifson cleans up the garbage, proving that he was the right addition to that first unit. The power play was 1 for 4 on the night, which is exactly what I asked for. It doesn't need to score every single time, every single opportunity, but if you're getting multiple opportunities in a game, score at least once, and it can make the difference. And it did. Nearly forgot, Gabe Landeskog also got into a tilt with a young buck, won the slow fight, and then almost fought again later, but apparently there was a language barrier that prevented further beatings via the captain. It sounded like he had something to say.
I think I was going to say tilt is the right word because it was just tilt. An awkward lockup. And he just basically leaned forward until the French Canadian, I assume, based on the last name, fell over, and then that was that. But he did say in his interview about not fighting at the end of a shift because he was tired and needed every second of those 5 minutes in the box to recover. Also, I said it last night, but thank you, Victor Golofsson, for caring about our planet and cleaning up the garbage, throwing them in the trash can where they belong. How dare you, Vasi? Let that rebound out there. We are going to punish you for it every time.
Yeah. And that's what you need is just guys who are aware. And Victor Olofsson was aware all night. And we'll talk about it here a little bit more in just a second. But yeah, you definitely can't be mad about that. And I mean, overall, of the 4 opportunities, I would say there was really one that was just pretty awful, but the other 3 I was fairly happy with. And that's the little thing is we just talk about being active, getting things on the net. Keeping them on their heels, making sure that the other team is feeling that pressure. So even if you don't necessarily get the goal on the power play, if you can tire out that unit and when that comes back to 5-on-5, you have another opportunity to continue to keep scoring because there's still a lot of times I feel like you can get a goal right after the power play ends because at that point, if you've kept that original penalty kill unit out there, they're tired and they're only getting one fresh body back and you can maybe take advantage of that opportunity. But anyway, both teams, though, throughout this game were just battling back and forth in displays of skill, and that's what it felt like. It was just a high skill ceiling game, and this was the case from the second period onwards. What led to the Avalanche having success in this game is the fact that they were insanely opportunistic and taking advantage wherever they could. They couldn't always create those high danger chances, so they had to look for whiffs and broken plays. And while Vasi's numbers don't necessarily show it, because before this game, I think he was at an 899, he is still deserving of high levels of respect. He's still stopped 31 of 34. And before I kind of get into my next point here, I do want to talk a bit more about Vasi off the cuff. There is a reason that Vasilevsky, I don't care, necessarily that they were COVID cups. There is a reason that Vasilevsky has 2 fucking Stanley Cups, a Vezina to his name. Does he have more than one Vezina? I think he just has one, but a Vezina to his name. But he also had insane playoff records before the Tampa Bay Lightning were winning Stanley Cups. And there was a reason that after COVID ended, that Tampa still went back to another Stanley Cup. Vasilevsky, there was a period where Vasilevsky was horrifying. Horrifying. Would you not agree, Mr. Dom?
Oh, I think he still is horrifying.
He still is.
And people have maybe forgotten. They move on. It is the way of the world with news. What's the new exciting thing? Where's the new drama to talk about, right? And Tampa haven't been the team from Florida to be the winners. So they're just not going to get as much talk. They're the second best team in Florida for the last few years. So people might have forgotten that he is, in my opinion, the most talented goaltender in the NHL today. And his stats still, and I think that's still him. I think it's been him this whole time. His stats won't always show it, because it's not just his fault. We talk about this with the Sharks all the time. Part of it is the defense in front of him. There's been a lot of turnover. Tampa Bay as a whole has aged, so it's just not as reliable as in their cup years. But when we talked about with rebounds, he is one of, if not the best in the league today at securing and preventing rebounds, not giving second chance opportunities. Yeah. So you have to beat him straight up as a shooter, goal scoring talent. And that's just a mano on mano moment. And sometimes you're going to be the better shooter. He's not perfect. He's still human, but he is doing those other things. He's not making those mistakes that goaltenders can make or can be known to make. His off nights are still better than a lot of goaltenders on nights. And I think That is probably my best way to summarize it.
I mean, yeah, you ask almost any team, would you want Vasilevsky on your roster? The answer is yes. And that's what I wanted to say too, with regards to that no rebounds. And that's what made him so successful in those playoff runs before, and why people had such a hard time beating him. Exactly as you said, when you shot, you got one opportunity because he was going to catch and keep that puck. You weren't getting a second chance. You weren't getting that rebound. And like I said, it's those rare opportunities where he misses that rebound and he can't hold on to it that you can score. And it's like, well, yeah, that's the case with any goaltender. No, Vasi was on a level, is on a level with controlling those rebounds. Not to mention, he is one of the most flexible goaltenders out there. He just casually hits the splits. He can cover the entire goal crease with his splits. It's frightening how insanely maneuverable he is. You ask a lot of goaltenders, like, whose mobility would you want? And they say Vasilevsky. I forget, there was an interview just the other day with a goaltender, and that's what he said. I forget who it was, though.
Well, and to be that flexible and still be larger than the average goaltender. He is on the larger side of goaltenders. So to be massive and flexible I mean, he is just a specimen, I guess, as a goaltender, and that's all that we can say. He can do things just both with his control of the puck and as a physical human being that other guys can't do. It's that simple.
Yeah. But, however, Olofsson scored again off of a whiff by Drury from Landeskog. Drury meant to smash the puck towards the net, but for some odd reason or another, it just kind of bobbled off his stick and casually slid across the slot right to Olofsson, who, heads up play by him, just smacked it right into the back of the net. And almost immediately after this goal, Sam Malinsky from his own D zone finds a streaking Ross Colton for an absolute goober deke by Colton. The reason that it was a goober, not a goober goal, yeah, it's a goober goal, but it's only because Ross Colton I'm not saying full on goober goal, more like just a goober goal, because Ross Colton did get around Vasi, but it goes off the post and then off of Vasi's leg, who kicked it in himself. So, I mean, that was really set up because Colton did everything correctly. There was just kind of a mistake. Well, really not a mistake on Vasi. I just think it would have fallen that way no matter what. So, another goal by the Avs almost immediately after. So now we're up 3-1. Walensky also had a similar assist last year against When Into Who is escaping me, but it's great to see that Walensky is continuing to contribute for this team. Now, with the penalty kill, the Lightning were 0 for 3 on the night. And I mean, last year, the Lightning had the best power play in the NHL, and for good reason. They have weapons on that power play to be feared. But the PK killed it. And in the third period, Kale almost got sprung for a shorty, he got sprung right after, I think, the power play or penalty kill had ended, but he just missed, unfortunately. Tampa, though, kept going for these cross-crease passes to try and create a backdoor opportunity, but the Avs defense was answering the bell. Now, as more for our bearded wonder, Brent Burns, he has some absolutely wicked vision. Dom remembers this. He nearly set up a tip goal from the blue line uncontested to Ross Colton for his second of the night, but it just didn't bounce quite the right way. But literally, if it had gone an inch to the left, that was going straight in. It was so pretty. And this is what I'm talking about, because you can expect shots like this from Burns every game. And it's something Cale Makar has mastered with his shot from the blue line going east to west. So it's nice to see that coming from some other D-men as well. Malinsky also has a pretty good ability to do it. As this game went on, Tampa got spicier and spicier, and it culminated in the third period with extensively physical play from both ends. Josh Manson was sending people to the Shadow Realm, and at one point collected a quarter of the team's hits in a span of 5 minutes. The third period flew by despite a wicked backhand by Braden Point. And as much as it pisses everybody off, it was a nice goal. And I mean, it's a nice goal because had anybody else tried that, unless you are a goal scorer, and by that I mean just a player with a very high skill ceiling, you're missing that. Otherwise, you're just going for the opportunity. But Braden Point is kind of an exceptional talent. It was not shocking that he hit that. And then suddenly, with 3 minutes left, the Tampa net is empty and the Avs are laying out and sacrificing everything to keep the score where it's at. And to Tampa's credit, they fought admirably. And if the Avs had gave anything less than what they did, the game would have been tied and it would have been sent to OT. But one extra goal was the difference. And that's what you need against a team like Tampa. The Avs defense bent, but they didn't break. And another all-around effort by the Avalanche where you really couldn't ask more of them. Dom, any other insights from this game? Because you were there. You were there, Dom. You saw it happen.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great game to watch. It definitely edge of the seat, some nail biting in the third period for sure. But it was exciting. I know you probably didn't want it to be that exciting or close, but as a neutral, you couldn't ask for better from these two great teams who you expect to make the playoffs, going toe-to-toe and having a close game. And, of course, we wanted the Avs to come out on top. So, from my perspective, perfect game. The Lightning didn't even get a point. But back to Burns for a second, because this is part of the maturing, the age, experience, because he would have used to blast it from the point. And that was more of a shot pass. Like, that was maybe 60, 70% of his power on that one. And he picked his point from one point near the boards all the way to the far post, about as perfect as you can get. I mean, when we're talking about inches to the left, the fact that it was that close, super impressive just to see the control, the awareness. And it's still, you have to respect his shot. So people are getting ready to sell out and block for it every time. And you said it, but shout out Josh Manson. He was my favorite player to watch this game. Y'all know I love some good hard checking, and he laid some massive hits. Oh, what a fun player to watch. He almost had a couple of fights end up getting started because of some of his hits, and he was ready to go. He was ready to get spicy with it too. So he brought that intensity that the Avs needed to push back against Tampa and to keep them from getting any extended momentum in their zone. Basically, anytime you wanted to chip and chase, you were going to pay for it. And there were a couple of times when they were trying to keep it in at the blue line where he just laid a dude out and the Avs were able to clear the zone. So huge credit to Josh Manson, because I think if we're talking about Avs and you're not just talking about the stats on the scoreboard, for me, I think he left his mark on this game and should have been one of the 3 Avalanche stars of this game.
Yeah, he's been exceptional this year. Like, he really has. He's noticeable every single game on both sides of the puck. And I mean, he's doing a great job. I think I talked about it last episode, keeping the puck in the zone and making sure that the cycle can continue. Obviously, he's bringing that physicality every single game. He looks healthy. He looks like he can move out there. And that's always been the thing that holds him back, is some health issues. But this year, he just feels full, complete, and ready to compete for the next Stanley Cup. So I'm very happy to see that, he's feeling good and contributing in every possible way that he can every night. So I totally agree with you. But that's interesting that you say that in regards to a defenseman for the Avs, because there's been criticism of Makar and Taves' play in that Tampa game specifically. And the numbers and the eye tests absolutely show that these mistakes, and for me, I don't always see these during the game because I'm usually looking at the team in a more holistic way and how they play as a unit and the results of that, for better or for worse, rather than at individuals, although I've been known to call people out occasionally, at least individuals in a negative sense. I'm usually picking out really good performances from players. I have a harder time identifying a bad performance. Now, I agree, there were bad moments out there for the Avalanche's top pair, but what makes this team different and better than the last few years is that's okay if they or anyone else has an off night, because someone else will pick up the slack. There isn't just one line or pair the Avalanche have to rely on anymore. That's what's been so amazing about this year, is when the top line isn't getting it done, someone else will. When Cale Makar is off his game or hiding an injury, another defenseman can step up and have a great game on both sides of the puck. This Avalanche team is deep, and you don't ever feel dread or a loss of confidence when any of its 4 lines are on the ice. Even when the 4th line is out, which is basically Parker Kelly and call-ups, the Avalanche team is dealing with injuries just like any other time, what? Just like any other team does, and like the Avalanche have had to do for so long. But unlike previous seasons, it isn't slowing them down. And that's an amazing feeling. Different players are getting the call up to NHL action and still getting things done. This team doesn't feel like it's fighting tooth and nail just to get a point or to get a win. It feels like it's fighting and demonstrating to show that it's the best and commands the respect of the rest of the NHL. And that's when so many people thought the window was closing. The Avalanche have forced it right back open.
Yeah, certainly proving the doubters wrong. And I think the doubters maybe pulled up too soon, especially when they were talking about Jared Bednar last season. So, no, I know it's Jared Bednar. I just had to throw that call back in there. But I think it's really important to see, or something you said is we don't know and we don't want to speculate on an injury, but could that have explained where Kale just looked off by a step? Certainly. And everybody has an off night. No matter how good you are, you have an off night. Nate has had off nights. McDavid has had off nights. Every player who has ever played any sport ever has had an off night. It happens. It's perfectly normal and natural. It's part of being human. But you said it a little earlier as well, laying out and just bending but not breaking on defense, because we couldn't tell exactly where he took the puck. It looked like to me it was his wrist. It came up like underneath him while he was spinning. But Makar definitely sold out to block one in the final 30, 45 seconds of the game. And it seemed to sting him. So if he didn't have something before this game, he definitely is nursing something now.
Do want to clarify, Bednar came on the radio show this morning and said he was fine. So Cale Makar is okay.
Okay. So, I mean, yeah, I had no doubt that he was okay. It's a stinger. It hurts. Let's give a mark. It's going to be a bruise, but these guys are used to it. It'll be fine. But those little things can sometimes just be irritating and distracting. So are you going to be at your apex of your play? Maybe not, but a 90% Cale Makar, I'll still take that over most defensemen in the league.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, some of you may be wondering, because that's the end of my section. You're probably asking, Corey, where's the Sharks game? Shh. We'll get there. But I have to eat my lasagna. So, Dom is going to very nicely crunch through the rest of the Sharks games and not talk about the Avalanche versus the Sharks, because we're going to do that together after this lovely section. But Dom, otherwise, you have a lot to be happy about with your team right now. And for that, I'm happy for you. Let's talk all about the teams that the Sharks beat and almost beat, and not about the important team that you beat just yet. It's time for In the Tank with Dom.
Well, thanks, Corey. And how about, I know I like the numbers, and I did a lot of numbers last time, but it was a great week for the Sharks. How about this? 5 points in their last 3 games. That's 2 wins and an OT loss, folks. This team, opponents beware, stop sleeping on the Sharks, because any given night, our offense can just go off on you. And yeah, our defense might let you have a bunch of goals, but our goaltending has woken up. Like, we gave up 3 goals or less in a few of these games. So if our offense can put up that many, we can still be in these and get points. It is not assumed that you walk into the tank, or when the Sharks come swimming into your building, that you're going to get a free win anymore. And to think that is just to be fooling yourself. And I hope you get punished for that if that's what you're doing out there, because this team is not the same as last year. There is so much more optimism. There's hope, but there's actual results to show for it. And I think the biggest thing from the past week is the second line, really. I mean, we had every single one of them, Eklund, Wenberg, and Kurashev, score in the game against the Devils. Kurashev has had 2 goals in multiple of these games. He was the 3rd star of the week for the entire NHL with 4 goals and 3 assists in the span of 4 games. So 7 points in 4 games. So this team, first it was Celebrini, who was the star of the week. like a week ago when we were talking. Now Kurashev is the third star of the week. And we're talking the second line is the line of this week. The Sharks have a legitimate top six, as can be seen from these games. And as promised, I'm going to rewind back to last episode when I gave a brief intro to the Sharks versus Kings game, in that while the Sharks did trail early, they got themselves into a 3-goal hole to start this game, but they were the better team. I'm sorry. I refuse to believe that they shouldn't have, like, this was their game to lose, and they managed to lose it, honestly.
I watched the
because
game. They absolutely were the better team. Like, dominated the Kings 5-on-5.
in my opinion, this loss to the Kings, and it came in regulation, so there was no points in this game for the Sharks. Even with the other wins and the successes that I'll go on to talk about this week, I personally agree with our announcer Randy Hahn, with Brody Brazil, all of the Sharks analysts, hosts, just loyalists out there. I am in unison, and I stand pat with them that that game against the Kings was their most complete performance. 40 shots on goal, allowing only 14 with the defense stepping up. And it really was just Askarov letting in 4 on 14. That's just not okay. But some of them, it's like there were these weird, awkward moments, messed up on a change, transition moments. The goals did not come on any sustained pressure from the Kings. They weren't really earned. They were given by Sharks' mistakes, putting their goaltender in a bad spot. And I imagine since he wasn't facing many shots, he might have gotten a little cold or a little just stiff. You know, when you've got all those pads and you're just standing up, you're not constantly moving, your head could possibly wander and be a little bit out of the game. And so that's his youth, I think, showing why Askarov wasn't at his best in this game against the Kings. But top to bottom, better team in the game. I mean, they had 5 power plays to the Kings 1. So they didn't convert on any of the power plays. So I know that's not great. That's a down. That's a thumbs down for the Sharks, right? But they weren't giving up the stupid penalties. They were playing clean. They were winning the puck clean. They had more hits. They were, I mean, just firing it at the goal endlessly. And you get down 3 goals less than halfway through the game, 6.5 minutes into the second period. How do you respond? Are you just going to bow out like they would have a year or two ago? Or is Will Smith going to fire one home off assist from Celebrini and Toffoli? The sleepover line still exists, y'all. They still scored in this game. And then Kurashev getting his first of the week off assist from Wenberg and Eklund. And then Wenberg in the third, tying it up off assist from Kurashev, and Skinner making the jump up, which I think it's important to note. I don't think it was this game against LA. I think it was the next one against the Devils. But Eklund has missed the last couple of games, and he is out tonight as well. I'm unclear what injury he is nursing, but the Sharks have been running with 11 forwards and 7 defensemen tonight against Seattle, who just scored. Boo. And the last couple of games against each of the Red Wings and the Avalanche.
I have a mouthful of lasagna. Keep going.
Oh, yeah, I'm still going. I was just trying to look because Corey Perry just makes me mad. I have a supreme dislike for this man from all of his time in Anaheim, and now he's on LA, and then he had that stint in Edmonton in the middle. It just, Of course, he was the one to open the scoring in this game. The Sharks were the better team. They should have at least gotten a point against LA. They lost 4-3 in regulation. They spent the final 2 minutes just firing pucks on the net endlessly, including when Joel Edmondson for LA had a puck over glass. So for the final minute and 16 seconds, they were 6-on-4, and they were just firing over and over and over. Celebrini must have had at least 6 shot attempts in the span of 60 seconds, and they just didn't go home. And that's really all it was, is they didn't go home. But
it's that scene from Happy Gilmore where he can't get the ball in the hole. That's your home.
Yeah, honestly.
Why can't you just go home?
Go to your home.
Are you too good for your home? Answer me.
Yeah, and then there was times where it just went just off the post, just wide, but they looked good in this game. The whole top 6 was playing well.
I mean, like I said, the whole lineup jumping in, only a couple players negative in the plus minus column, which I know we take it with a grain of salt, but it was mainly just defensive pairings. So they're more likely to end up with a minus anyway. But Wenberg really was the star of this game. I mean, and Kurashev as well. The two of them playing super well together on the second line. And I think Eklund has been a good facilitator. He's been the one who actually has the highest stats of the three this season, the one I had a lot of hope for from last year. But Wenberg has been really solid. And I know, Corey, I mentioned this to you, but there's been speculation that he would be that type of piece based on where his contract term is and everything, that middle six center depth is very always in high demand at the deadline. And if the Sharks can get someone to overpay for him, they'll need to listen to offers. Now, I would like him to stay, but it'll be interesting to see depending on the long-term plans that Mike Grier has if Wenberg is part of that, because he's looked really good this season as a facilitator. He's definitely still put the puck in the net more a little bit than he up to this point last year. So there's times he'll still pass up a shot that he has, and that was always a problem going in. Corey, I feel like you were the one who warned me about that from when he was in Columbus, but he's, I think, growing in confidence, or he's at least acting the part and shooting the puck a little bit more often.
Lasagna.
Oh, and speaking of which, sorry, I had paused there for a moment because it wasn't because I was waiting for you, Corey. Sorry. I was looking at the replay because yep, 2-1 now. Oh, we love to see it. After letting Seattle get back in this game, can't let them be hopeful for long. We gotta get that lead back. Gotta play with the lead. The Sharks have been doing that a lot more recently too. And it was Ethan Cardwell. So I think this is either the second or the third game he's been elevated this season. Maybe it's actually a bit more, but I remember talking about him at the start of the season. One of those guys that was possibly going to sniff at the roster, maybe steal a spot. Really, really electric in preseason. So glad to see the kid getting his opportunity and putting the puck in the net with assists from guess who? Alex Wenberg, Apple Machine. So good on you, Ethan. Happy to see it. Happy to see the success. But moving right along, because
wait. I think that said it was his first goal. I think that said it was his first.
Was
goal.
it? Was that his first?
Yeah, it's his first.
Oh my goodness! How awful of me. Congratulations, even more so, for his first career goal, Mr. Ethan Cardwell out of Oshawa, Canada. Congratulations, young man.
Oh yeah.
We of the Captain Avalanche Fancast, and as all San Jose fans out there, are very proud and happy to see this. I know I'm sorry for not recognizing it was his first, but I know I was high and hyping him up preseason, so I hope that my gaffes doesn't overrule that appreciation and respect I have for his play.
It does. How dare you?
But back. I know I'm just the worst.
He's gonna cry tonight when he learns what you did.
Well, I might be the worst, but the Sharks aren't, because the next game at home against the Devils, they were playing pissed off. They did not like losing that game to LA, and nor should they. They shouldn't have lost that game. We talked about it, but how about after getting the piss beaten out of them in New Jersey, like having Askarov or. Yeah, I think it was Askarov in that one, because Nedeljkovic played in this game. Stand on his head and give them a chance to only lose that game 3-1 in New Jersey, right? They were just really slow, bad, 17 shots on goal, and that was it. Well, in this game, they got 28 shots on goal, and they also had to block a lot of shots because New Jersey is kind of a good team, Corey, wouldn't you say? Or do you have lasagna once again?
No, I do not have lasagna, and yes, New Jersey has been very good this year, which I thought they were going to be if they weren't injured. And, even though they do have a few injuries, they're still doing all right. Although I haven't looked at them recently, but I think they're still top of the division. So yeah, they're pretty all right.
Well, they are, but a pattern for the Sharks, regardless of their opponent, they've been scoring early in these games, if you haven't been paying attention, because 42 seconds into this game, it was William Eklund scoring to give them a 1-0 lead off an assist from Kurashev. And the Sharks did not like starting in a 3-0 deficit against the Kings. So they were like, how about we take the 3-0 lead with goals from Kurashev off of an assist from Wenberg, and then a shot from Mario that actually was redirected off of the back of Wenberg's leg. So every single member of the second line had a goal by the 16-minute mark of the game. So when I've been saying, like, this second line is real, it is good. We have a legitimate top six right now. And I don't think teams realize this or expect this. You have all the hype around Celebrini playing with Smith, all the sleepover line fun. Nobody's been paying, or I feel like nobody's been. Maybe they are now, but the second line has been the line of the week for the Sharks. And I mean, 3 goals, 1 for each of them to give them a 3-0 lead. Dawson Mercer for New Jersey did answer with a power play goal late in the period, so it was 3-1 at the end of the first period, but still consistently playing well, consistently scoring goals from the second line. Will Smith and Tyler Toffoli each got in on the fun late in the second period. They scored a pair of goals within a couple minutes of each other. And really the hero of this game was Alex Nedeljkovic as well. I mean, the offense was on fire across the board, but the one thing was the stability in net. 29 saves on 31 shots, some huge, dangerous chances that he was able to make the save on. It was really, really impressive performance from him. And I think it's good because this came after a couple games in a row where Askarov was in net. And I think that's going to finally settle into the routine where Askarov plays maybe 2, maybe 3 in a row, and then Nedeljkovic plays 1 or 2. And rather than switching off every other game, I think Ned having an extra game in between has been helpful, and Askarov having more games in a row has helped him get into a rhythm. So it's a bit of a win-win here, I would think, Corey. But do you have any thoughts on that with goaltending? Because I feel like it can vary. And if your thoughts are lasagna, I do have other things I can point out from this game.
I did finish the lasagna. Wait, what? What do you want me to say about goaltending? I was off in another stratosphere for a second there. I'm very sorry.
All good. I asked the question in a roundabout way, so it's probably on me. But I feel like it varies goaltender to goaltender. Askarov seems to be better when he plays multiple games in a row, but Nedeljkovic, when they were switching they both seem to be worse, and now they both seem to be better. Like if he's off 2 games and then on for 1. Is there something? How do I describe this, or how do you figure that out with a goaltender? Maybe is this just me just pulling something out of thin air here?
Goaltenders are like that, and you usually want to go with the hot hand until the hand starts to cool off. And I think that was the case with Scott Wedgwood through his first 6 or 7 games. He had a really hot hand that the Avalanche wanted to ride. And I mean, that's the whole thing is goaltenders will get into a rhythm because, I mean, while they are on the ice for 60 minutes, they're not always having to do stuff for 60 minutes. So if you're keeping them in back-to-back games, or well, not back-to-back, but consecutive games, that's the better word for it, that helps them get into a rhythm of playing in front of the team, where some guys who are career backups, they're a bit more accustomed to that. You know, I come in every 2 or 3 or 4 games to play for this team, whereas starters, you know, if they're going a significant amount of time between games, they're not necessarily doing as well. So for guys like Askarov, it's probably more beneficial for him to get, you know, consecutive starts, whereas Nedeljkovic has kind of always been a career backup, so it's a little easier for him to step in every other
On the flip
game.
side, I think my audio cut out because I didn't hear you there.
No, you're good. Carry on. Carry on.
Okay, cool. So I think you're absolutely right about Askarov there, because his play has improved when he's playing in back-to-back games, not back-to-back, sorry, consecutive, like you said, get into more of a rhythm. But Nedeljkovic actually has the better statistics now. And that has been when he's playing every 3rd, maybe every 4th game. So I think that experience in being more of a backup has allowed him to thrive more like a starter. And you know, those saves and the Sharks all around some efforts from the defenseman hopping into the play. Liljegren was a 3 ± in this game, leading all players there. I mean, the Sharks were up 5-1 after 2 periods. That's how often have you heard me say that in, like, Corey, since like we actually went to a cup run? Like, I don't know if I've said that since then.
So many times.
So many times, and I just have a terrible memory and have forgotten them all. But the one thing, or the one commonality from this game to the first game with the New Jersey Devils is the Sharks penalty kill is hot, sweaty, just gross swamp ass.
do? What
Like,
the fuck, Tom?
they are allowing a goal like 1 out of every 3. We say 1 out of every 4 as an offense is great. You want to be at 25%. The Sharks are letting teams be at like 32.5%. It's gross. It is gross. And just like the last game against the Devils, it was Dougie Hamilton who just provides and creates, but he was not the one to get the goals this time. He just had the primary assist on both of Dawson Mercer's goals. Actually, sorry, he had the secondary assist on one of them. Jack Hughes had the primary, but the Sharks allowed the Devils to score on 2 out of the 3 power plays, and I think it's just a combination of one of the top 5 power plays in the league against one of the bottom 5 penalty kills. So, just not a great scenario for the Sharks. They can't be giving power plays to good teams like this.
Yes.
And apologies to everyone who didn't like my gross reference. I'm gonna have to pay
Don't
for it now
apologize.
because the next game I'm gonna talk about, because we're gonna skip a very exciting one where, hey, really quickly, flashback to when we said, or when Corey said, to be the best, you got to beat the best. I'm not saying, I'm just saying the Sharks did beat New Jersey, and I'm not saying anything else yet on that matter. And then the next game against Detroit, Corey, if you have anything to jump in here, since I wasn't able to watch this game live, so if there was anything you saw, really the one thing I want to say from the game against Detroit is congratulations, Sam Dickinson, with his first NHL goal and a 2+-. He's been really finding his game the more he's settled in, and he's played his official 10 games of the season, and I forget what it was called. I saw an article, but I think it's called a housing letter. The Sharks formally gave Dickinson a housing letter, which means he is basically given permission or encouraged to buy a home or rent, have his own place in San Jose. And if for whatever reason he is still sent back to the juniors, to the OHL, something like that, the team is legally obligated and will pay for his place, so he still has it to come home to. So they are showing formally in their commitment to him as part of the contract. So not only is he hopefully going to play 70, 60 plus games with the starting roster this year, but he is protected if for whatever reason he doesn't.
Bro, I want a fucking housing letter. What the hell? What? Hey, come down here. We'll pay for your house if we have to send you away. What? I swear. No. Hopefully, excuse me, I don't steal any of your thunder, Dom. But I mean, from what I can recall, the Sharks, got down in this game. But what I liked about overall their game, just in a general sense, was their resilience, where they didn't let themselves get down in too big of a hole like they have before. It was not an insurmountable odds to come back against a Detroit team who has been playing very well, very effectively. But the Sharks were then able to mount a near comeback and push themselves back into this game with, I think, a more well-rounded attack. And not only that, but then keep Detroit off the board long enough for them to push the game to extra time. So credit where credit is due, but also, Sam Dickinson getting the tying goal was pretty awesome.
Pretty awesome. And another note is just not too long before that, and I feel like it was part of the momentum, is the Sharks were on a power play. And I think it was something like, excuse me, a minute and a half. So like 1 or 2 shifts after that power play ended, that when they were able to get back into the offensive zone, cycle a bit, and that's what set up the Dickinson goal. I feel like just from the momentum standpoint. And why I mention it is because, yeah, Celebrini got a roughing penalty, but Moritz, is it Moritz Cedar?
No, Cider.
You're good with the names. Cider.
Set up the dick goal. Sorry.
Oh, brother, this guy
Yeah.
stinks.
He got it's not a double minor, but he got both roughing and interference compared to MacLeod's just roughing. So even if when he's getting feisty and upset, MacLeod wasn't like the instigator. It still ended up in a power play for the Sharks. So he sat for 2 minutes, but the Sharks still got a power play. So that intensity, that anger, that fire that Celebrini has, we've seen it come out at different points this season, which it's great to see. Great to see that. But the fact that he also has the presence of mind and enough self-control that he can do that and the Sharks still get a power play, that for me, that's worth something. And I know sometimes they're just trying to set it even, and then the interference calls the extra, and that's probably what it started all. Whatever. I just think there are ways and there are players who would end up getting an extra one tacked on there. And so it all just evens out. And so to be able to get your lick in, to send a message to say, hey, you're not going to do that to me, and still give your team a power play, I think that's important. And it's just those type of peace of mind and being spatially aware that leaders have to be on the ice.
Yeah.
Also, once again, Nedeljkovic, killer in this game, 30 saves on 32 shots. I wasn't kidding when I said he's been finding his game, playing a lot better. And I know, Corey, you said they look good this game, and they weren't ever out of it. Obviously, the stat line doesn't look the best with only 18 shots on goal, but they still got 2 of them past Cam Talbot. So, and the Red Wings with 17 block shots in the game. So it's not like they weren't shooting.
No.
They just weren't reaching the net. And so that's been something where, like I talked about the New Jersey game, we know the Sharks can get the pucks to the net. So, I'm not too concerned with that overall, I think is what you're saying. And it's great to know that on these back-to-backs, because this was another second half of a back-to-back for the Sharks. Since Askarov played the first one, great to know that Nedeljkovic was able just to step right in and be able to do that switch off and give a great performance, a really great performance. So I think really the goalies for both teams controlled this game and the outcome. And I said it before, if a game goes all the way to a shootout, might as well be a tie. And whether or not we expected Detroit to be good going into this season, they're 9-4. They're right there with just 1 point behind, Montreal to lead the entire Atlantic and the East for that matter. So, this team is good this year. Whether or not we expected them to be, they at least are right now. So this was a strong series of games, teams that the Sharks had to play, going LA, New Jersey, Colorado, and Detroit. And Seattle has started the season much better than anyone expected as well. And the Sharks are up 2-1 after the first period there tonight. So again, I think the key common thing across this before we actually dive into the Sharks and Avs game together, Corey, is the Sharks are not an easy out anymore. There are no easy wins in the tank. You have to go in there and battle. This team is in every game. And sure, sometimes bad things happen, but they're competitive with these best teams of the NHL. And we all know that the future is teal and it's bright, but we're finally seeing it. And anyone who doubts the Sharks are being proven wrong and having to pay for that mistake.
Well, hell, dude, it honestly, and this is not to, shortchange the Sharks here, doesn't feel like anybody's an easy out this season, except for maybe like the Flames. The Flames pretty much are it. But, look at the East, which I'm glad I got to bring this up. We were talking about this last night. The difference between last place and a playoff spot is 1 point. The difference between a wild card spot and first place is 2 wins. What is happening? And so it just feels like this year, there is no guarantee like, oh yeah, we're going to play this team and we're going to win. Like that's just not what's happening right now. It's still relatively early, but we're getting close to 20% of the season out of the way. But eventually separation has to happen. So I'm curious for what's going to come out of that. And unfortunately, I think the Sharks aren't quite there yet to stick with the large group, but I do also think you're right that it's not going to be by any means a guaranteed victory. They have shown that, especially with their offense.
And I think it's great that you mentioned the parity around the league, especially in the East, because you were right in that when we were talking about this at the Avalanche Lightning game, that it was only a point separating the last place team from a playoff. And that was actually because the game hadn't gone final when Anaheim beat the absolute piss out of Florida 7-3. Cutter Gauthier with that first career, I think it's his first career hat trick, first 3 goals for the Ducks. But believe it or not, your two-time, not your two-time, but the two-time defending Stanley Cup champions are last in the East with 13 points, and 15 points is a playoff spot. And then 19 points or 18 points. No, it's 19 for Montreal, leads the division. 6 points separates first and last out of 16 teams. And last is the defending Stanley Cup champions. That is insane. We are living and watching unprecedented hockey. That is, we should all be grateful that it's so competitive and anything can happen any given night. This is going to be exciting. I mean, it's early in the season. Who knows if it'll be able to continue? Injuries, if any teams are going to start to fall off the pack a little bit. But I mean, if this continues throughout the season, that's going to be so exciting to watch. And even if it's less dramatic in the West, the Sharks are, because Calgary is ass. They're ahead of St. Louis, and they've played one less game, and they are, guess what, one less win behind Minnesota, who they beat head-to-head already this season. Like, they are still in it. They have games in hand on almost every other team West. Well, obviously that won't be the case after tonight goes final, but if, let's say they win tonight, they're right there, 3 points behind from a playoff spot. And I don't think that means the Sharks are really legitimately in the playoff hunt, but they're also not out of it. And after multiple years of like starting 10-1, 7-2, and shit like that, or 9-2, I don't even want to. I don't want to remember what the exact was. It was bad. It took forever to get a win. This team is winning. They are scoring. They are good. They might not be great yet, but they are good. They look like a professional NHL team that needs to be respected. So thank you to all the gods, wherever they come from, especially the hockey ones. Thanks to all of you who have supported me through this period of time, especially you, Corey, and to all of you Sharks fans out there who've continued to believe in our team. We're going to be there soon and be terrorizing the league. It'll be us in Montreal. But until then, let's talk more about the Avalanche.
Oh, we're not just talking about the Avalanche, Dom. And you're right. I will always support you. I'm about to not support you right now in this moment. So for those of you who are wondering where this was, here it is. The Avalanche versus the Sharks. The reason you all listen to this show, one of the few times a year that the two hosts teams clash in a head-to-head. And for the last few years, the Avalanche have dominated. I believe they showed it. I think the Avalanche have won the last 16 games against the Sharks. But with this last contest, could the tides be turning? No. Hell no. Not yet, anyways. Not yet. For all intents and purposes, the fucking Avalanche should have won this game. No offense to your team, Dom, but the shots on goal differential was crippling, to say the least. And the two names that I kept hearing during this game were Dmitry Orlov and Philip Kurashev. Somehow Orlov was on the ice for every shift because I always heard his name. And Philip Kurashev crushed our dreams. Oh my God, I was so frustrated watching this game because it felt like the Avalanche should have been ahead 5-2 at any given point. Plain and simple. And of course, Askarov, who had no more than in like an 884 save percentage in any other game during the season, decided that game was going to be his awakening. The one where he absolutely played the best fucking hockey of his career. Why is it whenever goalies have the best game? Stop typing in my notes. No, I make the decision around here. Fuck off, Eddie. Hey. Why did it have to be against the Avalanche? This is some bullshit. Not to mention when it went to overtime. Fuck, dude. Alan, we are so fucked. For anybody who knows that reference, I'm proud of you. But if you don't know, go and watch. First of all, it's from Smiling Friends, but go and watch our meme highlight video that we made. It sums up the game pretty nicely. But I mean, it felt like the Avalanche got lazy after the first goal because they scored like 30 seconds in from Marty Necas, who once again is just like, yeah, I earned that new contract. I'm a baller. Look at me. And we're all like, cool. And then the Avalanche were like, we're kind of sleepy from the back-to-back. I don't want to play anymore. And they just didn't. And, let's just let Macklin Celebrini stand out in open ice to wire one past Blackwood for his first game back. You really can't. You can maybe blame one on Blackwood, but you can't blame them all. And I mean, it's Macklin Celebrini, for fuck's sake. But you talk. You talk now. I don't want to talk.
Well, and I think that there was some degree of laziness. I think it is my perspective that you're right. The Avalanche lost this game because they did not have enough respect.
I didn't. I want to fucking end off my thought with, this is not to shit on the Sharks. What I am most disappointed in this game is the Avalanche's effort, because the Sharks played a full 60 minutes and they kept themselves in this game very well because they cared. They actually looked like they cared when they were skating around out there, and the Avalanche didn't. And I was very mad about that fact. I don't care how many shots they put on goal. They did not take the Sharks seriously. And just like you said, the Sharks are not a guaranteed win anymore, but clearly the Avs thought that going into tonight. So sorry, did not mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh, you're all good. They got pucks on the net, but how dangerous were the chances? Like, Askarov stopped 36 shots. You got 38 shots on goal. That's a great number, but how high quality were they? If we go back and look, how dangerous, how advanced, how aggressive were the Avalanche? And I don't think they were. And all I was going to say is they didn't have enough respect for the Sharks to pour it on when they had the chance to build that multi-goal lead. They let the Sharks hang around, and they paid the price for it because your team does not know how to play in overtime, apparently. And I remember messaging you where I was like, honestly, I'll take a shootout because Blackwood doesn't know how to play in a shootout either, at least from his time with the Sharks, he didn't. And you told me, oh, brother, your team can win in overtime too. And props to you, Corey. You got that one right. Because, I mean, I still have to say, the one thing I will say for the Avalanche is while the shots were not the highest quality, while they did seem a step slow at times, they still had plus 15 on shots on goal. Out shooting the Sharks 38-23. 38 shots on net is still 38 shots on net. And thank you for doing that, at least. So Askarov kept himself active in the game because he also made some great saves. He really did. And he almost gave you the win. We haven't talked about this yet, but he went on another adventure and he got away with it.
Let's be so real. The game should have been over right there. And
it
to
should
his
have.
credit, he got back and poke checked it out of Parker Kelly's hand. I do not know how Parker Kelly managed to not hit an empty fucking net, but yeah, that should have been game over.
And not to mention also, this game had another unique one with the goal that wasn't but became or was meant to be afterward when Jeff Skinner crashed into the right post, knocking the net off behind Askarov, but it was ruled that the puck would have been going in, and the Avs did ultimately put it in. So McKinnon was awarded that goal after a league review, which leads the league 10 goals, at least at this point during the season. It was leading the league or tied, whatever. Point is
tied with 5 different
tied
people
for leading the league.
Yeah.
But there were some unique things in this game. It wasn't easy to get the puck past. I'll be the first to say it was a good goal for the Avalanche. It should have counted. They should have won this game because they should have scored when Askarov went on an adventure. Askey, stay in the fucking net. You had a great game. Don't go on an adventure. Stay on the main quest. And if you can't figure that out, then stay in the fucking Shire and go on no quest at all. Please. For crying out loud. It gives me a fucking anxiety attack every time. But ultimately, it's worth it. I'm sorry that I had my elation and joy had to come at the expense of your suffering, my friend.
It's
But
okay.
every like my nails down to their ends and still split. Like I still have some damage on my nails from that time because I've bitten them since, and I've just been stressed with some of these games. Like I was going in because I was just like, oh, we should have lost this game and we're still in it. What is this? Why is this happening? I don't know, but I'm not gonna get my hopes up too fast. But please let this happen. Like after all these times I've gone to games here in Colorado and watched you guys beat the ever loving shit out of my team, it did feel good to get
Oh, yeah.
one. I like Mackenzie Blackwood. It hurt seeing him not on the team. And I know it was Mike Greer's decision and it made sense and everything, yada, yada, yada. I like him as a player and I think he's really good. And I think the fact that this was his first game back helped. I mean, having a lower body injury when you're moving around a lot as a goaltender, I thought he was solid, but having him not at 100% certainly helped as well. And so when these teams meet again, I do expect it to be. I do expect the Sharks need to play better and to get the shot differential closer. They need to get more shots on goal, whoever is in net, because both of your tendies are playing super well. And just shout out Kurashev once again, getting that OT winner right over the left shoulder of Blackwood. Give credit where credit's due. That was a shooter's goal in overtime. Man, just stepping up to the moment. And also shout out to Taylor McCarr. We haven't said it yet, but
Oh, yeah.
brother of Kale
Oh, yeah.
making his NHL debut in this game. I feel like he almost got a point.
He almost
on
got a goal
that,
twice.
Yeah. So, he played well. I know it was super happy, and Kale in interviews just was like, this is what all those times playing as kids was, and now it's here and it's real. So just a lot of cool storylines, a lot of unique ones, some things about this game, but hey, to be the best, you got to beat the best, and we're not the best yet, but a win over the Avalanche to follow up a win over the Devils is about as good as you can ask for quality of wins in 2025.
Yeah, you're right. Avalanche lead the NHL right now. But I did look back at my angry ranting that I sent to you to see if I had any more points to make, and I do. But first and foremost, interestingly enough, Minnesota won a game last night or 2 nights ago when you're hearing this against the Predators on literally the exact same kind of goal where Onanen dislodged the net, but the Wild then pushed it over the line to score a goal. And the way that the rule reads is essentially if a defending player, whether accidentally or on purpose, dislodges the net and there is an imminent scoring opportunity, if the puck crosses the line, it is a good goal. So, I mean, it's the right call for the Avs Sharks game because Skinner accidentally or on purpose dislodged the net, and McKinnon is right there for the imminent scoring opportunity. Same thing happened with Minnesota and Nashville. So it's a good goal, as much as your announcers did not seem to think so, who also I would like to give credit to were very nice. I heard they had very nice things to say about the Avalanche. Obviously, I wasn't watching the Sharks feed, but I heard they had nice things to say. So I would just like to shout out your announcers who said nice things about the Avalanche, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Randy and Drew are nice guys. I enjoy listening to them. Obviously, I'm biased, and like I said, I was texting you, and one of the first ones to say, yeah, that should have been a goal. It was a good goal, and I was just glad to see that Skinner was okay taking that hard hit into the post. Definitely unique situation. Also, just pausing for a moment. The Sharks were on a power play. Puck in the air, like over goalie's shoulder. Macklin whacking at it
How
out
did
of
that
the air,
not
and
go
I don't
in?
know
I
how it
just saw
didn't
the
go in.
replay. How did that, or not the replay? I just saw it happen live. How the fuck did that not go in? Okay, cool. But my other points.
Yeah, so it should be 3-1 over Seattle right now. That's all. But yeah, back to your points.
Yeah, my other points for this game was that the Avalanche played, and I know we've talked about it, it's not linear with hockey, but the Avalanche did play Vegas so incredibly well. And, this is not, again, offense to the Sharks, but Vegas is a better team than the San Jose Sharks right now. And why that momentum could not translate into the next day makes zero fucking sense to me. Not only that, but the Avalanche could not hold on to the puck to save their fucking lives. Their passing decisions were bewildering to me, especially in the third period where we pretty much gifted you so many chances in our defensive zone to shoot on our net. How you guys didn't end up winning 5-2 with some of the opportunities that we gave you is just beyond me. I mean, it was, I was ready to put something through a wall. Obviously, I didn't. I would like to clarify to everybody, but the emotions were that high. And, oh my God, I don't know what they were trying to accomplish with some of the decisions that they made here. And at the end of the game, I felt that the Avalanche should be embarrassed of how they went out there and played. Thankfully, they made up for it with a very, very good performance against the Lightning, but I hope they do not ever play a game like how they played against the Sharks again. It was no bueno. I do not give a fuck how many shots they put on net. Their quality of play went down immensely compared to Vegas. Again, though, that being said, the Sharks absolutely rose to the occasion and played the Avalanche very, very well. And I will be very excited here at the end of November when we go and we see these teams battle it again in our hometown. We will see what happens because, boy, oh boy, the Avalanche very seldom let lightning strike twice in the way that they do. So we'll see what happens. Although, all that being said, I do like it when our two teams are competitive with each other. Ultimately, you know me, I want the Avs to dominate and win every game effortlessly, but that's not how it goes. But when it's our two teams, I do enjoy when they can make it, when they can make it exciting.
Certainly. I mean, for me, it has been a couple of years of watching my team get their ass beat. So
I mean,
a
you by all
competitive
means
game is
deserve
refreshing.
this. Yes, by all means, you deserve it. It doesn't mean I'm happy about it, but you deserve it.
Well, and I recall saying, and I still believe this is true, for how bad you played and how many chances the Sharks had, as you said, you still got a point.
Yes.
And in a sense, when it is our two teams playing, and obviously we would disagree on what the perfect outcome is because we want our team to be the one getting 2 points, but our teams took the maximum. We got as a combined 3 points out of this game. So, if not, we can't both win, but at least we cannot negatively impact the long term of the Avalanche points-wise too significantly, at least in this one game.
I want the Sharks to do well, but you guys need to be aiming for McKenna, okay? We need to be aiming for the division lead, which we have right now, but we need all the points we can get for that. That also bounced on the red line. That's crazy. So get out of here. You don't need the extra points. We need the extra point. Go away.
Listen,
no.
we are the specialists on the term tank, okay? So how about this? The fact that we are still firmly in the McKenna hunt. We have less points than any team in the East, and there's only 2 teams technically behind us in the West. So we can play good and win games and still get McKenna because that's the thing. The bar has risen. We don't have to be ass and lose by 20 points behind every team. We can be 5 points out of last place and still have third best odds to get McKenna. That the whole league has just taken a step up this year because we predicted that Anaheim was going to make a jump. We said Utah was going to make a jump.
Dude,
they were obviously a little bit closer.
Good. I feel so good about that right now, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Agreed. But also Chicago on the back of Spencer Knight, who's looked incredible. They made a bigger jump than we expected. Buffalo has been better than expected. Detroit has been better than expected. Not to mention Pittsburgh up there, like a legitimate playoff contender, it seems like. Just resurgence once more back to their days of their prime. I mean, across the whole league, every team that was projected to be bad or miss the playoffs, even Philadelphia looks better. Like Trevor Zegras looks like the prospect that he was expected to be, and it just didn't work out in Anaheim. Like every team is moving up. there is no, like, I mean, unless you were at the top. I mean, obviously Florida dealing with injuries, they slid all the way to the bottom of the East. Again, small point differential, but the fact is that the Sharks can follow and move with the rest of the league and still be in a lottery position. Also, goal for Klingberg, who's playing again tonight. Sharks are back up 3-1. I hope you get to see it here, Corey, in a little bit on your stream.
Yeah, I'm a little bit behind, it looks like, so just waiting for that. But I mean, here's my whole thing on your point, though, is you're right. It feels like the standard has risen. And I mean, right now, you look at this top 5, and like some of them make sense because you have Colorado and Winnipeg, and New Jersey to an extent in here. But then you also are seeing Montreal and Pittsburgh, and it literally does not make any fucking sense. Wow, what a blast by Klingberg. But here's the problem, is eventually someone has to fall. Just like how we said in the first episode, someone has to be last. And unfortunately, it just does not work that everybody will be this close in points the entire season. Separation will start to happen. The degree of separation might be a little different, but not all of these teams can maintain this forever. Eventually, certain teams have to accumulate more losses. And so the question then becomes, as some other channels and outlets have begun to look at, the question then becomes, who is going to be the ones that actually hold on to what they're creating right now? Because like you said, there are teams who probably shouldn't be where they are right now, like Seattle, the Blackhawks, the Penguins, and some of these other organizations. I do think the Ducks are legit. I think they've taken that step for real. I think Utah is legit. They've taken that step for real. But it's like, how much did the Kraken change from last year to this year? Pretty much none. And you're telling me that all of a sudden they're going to start playing really well? Like, I don't fucking buy it. I don't buy it one bit. Pittsburgh, how much did Pittsburgh change from last season to this season? Well, they've changed in the fact that they have more youth playing and prospects playing on their roster. Is that making a difference? Will they be able to hold on because Tristan Jarry doesn't look like an absolute bum this year? I don't know. And, with the Blackhawks, it's like, yes, Spencer Knight is leading them along with some better offensive output, but it's like, can they maintain that? I don't know. So I can't say who's going to end up holding on and who's going to fall off here, but someone has to. Someone has to.
Certainly, and none of us know, right? But I think the only thing I'll push back on is Montreal being a surprise. I don't think Montreal was a surprise. We both picked them to finish second in the Atlantic.
Yeah.
And when you tell
surprise
me Toronto has regressed, yeah, fair enough. Surprise for some. New Jersey's definitely not a surprise. I think Pittsburgh, if we're picking a team that keeps it going, Pittsburgh is a wagon, I think, because you're right. They have this youth. They are going to continue. You still have Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin. Like, this team that went to multiple cups in a row, won multiple cups. Like, these star players who've had nobody to support them, and now they have this youth and this energy, and their goaltending isn't the worst in the league anymore. So they actually have a chance. And even when they were not at when they were at the bottom of the East, they were still like competitive. They could still win on any given night and be a spoiling team. I think out of all the ones we listed that we don't know, I think Pittsburgh looks the most legit out of all of them, of the don't knows. Like, we knew about Utah, we knew about Montreal, we knew about Anaheim, so I'm not counting those. I'm saying compared to Chicago, compared to Boston, compared to Philadelphia, I think Pittsburgh, compared to Seattle, who looks like ass right now, the Sharks are just skating all around them. But I think compared to those teams, Pittsburgh looks so much more legit to me.
Oh, dude, I'm pissed because I wanted Sidney Crosby. I know it's a pipe dream and it's stupid, but if Pittsburgh was hot ass this year, there would have been a good chance. They finally sent him our way. And now all of a sudden they have to be good again and make a playoff push? Why don't you want McKenna? You want McKenna, you stupid fucks. What are you doing, Kyle Dubas? I hate you. I want Sidney Crosby on the Avalanche. Fuck, dude. And now they have to be good. And this is the best Avs team I've felt that I say it every year, but this is genuinely like the best Avs team we've had since 2022. Why can't we get it this year? Fuck's sake, bro. Why? Okay, I'm done bitching about it. It pisses me off that Pittsburgh decides now all of a sudden when there's maybe a chance that Sidney gets sent over here if they were shit. Now they're like, oh, we should be good instead. Like, what the fuck?
Yep, and you also want Pittsburgh to get McKenna so that based on I know it's early, but what teams were we projecting to be near the bottom, and we expect to drop off some? I mean, well, we weren't expecting this, but St. Louis is a lot worse than expected.
I knew
Minnesota has started much more poor than expected.
You knew they were gonna be
and
bad.
Nashville is better than expected.
They're still pretty
but we expect them to regress. You don't want McKenna going to those three teams. You want a team from the East to collapse and go to the bottom and get the best odds for McKenna so that you don't have another superstar player in your division that's already tough enough as it is.
You're so right, too. You're so right about that. Yeah, we need McKenna.
Like, everybody wins if he goes to Calgary. Everybody wins except for him if he goes to Calgary, because Calgary is just not it. And the Pacific is bad enough that Calgary can be it, and it's not really going to hinder other Pacific teams. So nobody minds if Calgary gets him. And for both of us, for all of us who are listening and part of this who are Western Conference teams, go to the East. We'll see you twice a year in the Stanley Cup if it comes to it. But other than that, go live your life, right? But the fact that the teams that I would feel like could have a good shot at him are Chicago, Nashville, Minnesota, St. Louis, like, your division is already loaded enough. I'm with you here. Like, pivot. Like, I understand you want Crosby, and who doesn't? But I think that's the bigger issue, is the fact that there's those central teams that the ones that have been better than expected. I would expect some regression to the mean. And you're right. I was wrong about the Blues, and they look awful. They look absolutely awful, and like they could be in that lottery hunt this year.
People thought that they were going to be good this year. I said to the contrary. I didn't say they'd be this bad, but I didn't think they'd be. I think they overachieved last year. So yeah, I'm glad I was at least right about that. Not that I ever like wish doom and gloom upon teams unless it's Dallas or Edmonton, but like, or Seattle. I do wish Seattle would do that. But yeah, that's a tough one. Anyway, it's enough of that jibber jabber. Here's the 3 players of the week. Number 3 is Macklin Celebrini or Philip Kurashev. Take your pick there, but we're gonna give one of our spots to the Sharks this week. They've been playing well, and I love watching Macklin Celebrini. And like I said, that kid is just dynamite. My mom even acknowledged how good Macklin Celebrini is, if you recall that conversation yesterday. Yes?
Yes, indeed.
Number 2 is Victor Golofsson, who just continues to light it up. Love that dude. Once again, solid acquisition by the Avalanche in the offseason. He was the right guy to go and get, because now he's waking up, but he also is contributing assists. And I mean, he's somebody that they were like, oh, he's only a pure goal scorer. Hell no, dude. He's been fucking chipping in on those lines. So yeah, I mean, that Avalanche third line's been super great. Can't really complain. It's now Drury, Landeskog, and Olofsson, and it's been pretty effective. Can't lie. I mean, could you ask for a better third line center than Drury? Yeah, maybe. But, let's give him time. Let's give him a chance. And again, that third line is still like doing stuff, especially with Olofsson, so can't really complain too much. And number 1, we glazed him all episode. He deserves it. Brent Burns. He got his first goal with the Burgundy and Blue. Has been contributing well in games. I like watching him play. He's also gigantic. I'd like to meet Brent Burns. He'd be fun to meet, yeah?
Oh, I would love to. I have met him through his car window exiting the tank one time when he signed my hat. That was, and I was 14. I would like to meet him. I remember saying to you, beard recognized beard, when he had a chuckle and smile when they
That was so
panned to the
funny.
crowd and had someone who looked similar. It makes me miss my COVID beard when I could have something reasonably competing with the length of your beard or his. But he's He's such a good dude. He's so
Yeah.
fun. He's just
Yeah.
so just casual about it, living his best life. The whole thing with the zombie apocalypse. Yeah, sounds like fun. I'll go out there and hunt. Like, dude is one of one, but he's also a really good hockey player. I'm excited for when we get to go to the game together and I can wear the Burns Sharks jersey and
Oh,
I
yeah.
can just represent my guy even if he's on the wrong team because he has always been one of my favorites going back to when he first came to the Sharks. So really glad honestly that since Carolina fucked it up and couldn't get him a cup that he landed with you guys who have a
Yeah.
legitimate shot to get him a cup before he retires. That's really what I want. Like I know I'm here and I'm a neutral but who leans the Avs. I hope you all listening realize that you have an extra boost of having Burnsy and Blackwood on your team that I'm going to throw more of my weight behind rooting for you guys because I want to see these type of players get a cup.
Yeah, I actually at lunch today was talking to my mom about it, and Burns is of course very drawing similarities to Ray Bork. And to me, if the Avalanche go on a good run this year, but they don't quite get there, I would think that he'd stick around for one more kick at the can, just like Ray Bork did. And he'd be like, all right, I'll give it one more shot. But I think if the Avalanche do manage to capture the cup this year and give it to Burnsy, I think he'll say, all right, perfect. I'm going to retire now. That's the direction I'm leaning. But I want to get a Brent Burns Avalanche jersey because just like Ray Bork, he will not be here for an extended period of time. So then in the future, when you're trying to find that jersey, it is not going to be easy to do. So I'm definitely thinking I'm going to go out of my way to try and get a burgundy and blue Avalanche Burns jersey so I can have that for posterity. Because, I mean, that's a legendary player who wore the burgundy and blue.
Absolutely. And, I that's why there's going to be more time, obviously, but that's why I want a Makar one because getting to watch him play and he is going to be a legend by the time his career is over. But if they happen to make any or have ones of his that are the Nordiques ones and that maybe just maybe are more accessible, then I would certainly pivot and be happy to have another Burns jersey and represent because he's just a good player. He's a good person that any fan should be proud to represent, regardless of the team.
Oh, yeah. Well, everybody, this week it's Dom's turn for the fun fact. So he's going to teach us all about hockey pucks. So, Dom, take it away with your fun fact.
So originally, I had a smaller fun fact specific about how pucks are treated during the game, but I wanted to take it a little bit further and actually talk more about the hockey puck and the modern puck in general, because did you know, and Corey, you might have known this, but the regulation hockey puck must weigh between 5.5 and 6 ounces per the International Ice Hockey Federation standards, be 3 inches in diameter and 1 inch in thickness. Now, the modern pucks are made of what is called vulcanized rubber, where it is heated and compressed down into a mold because natural rubber on its own can become brittle, can break off pretty easily, whereas when it's all compressed together, you're creating new bonds and it's stronger, more dense, which is also what makes it more durable to be able to get whacked at by a stick every day. And then, of course, on the edges, if you've ever held a puck in your hands and you run your finger around the edge, there is a diamond texture that's designed to increase friction between a puck and a stick so that you can have better control or help with putting spin on a puck when shooting it. But I mentioned that how are they made with that vulcanized rubber? Well, you do have natural rubber as the key ingredient, and what would we be in this world without modern bonds, plastics, and chemicals designed to help it blend to the right material, the right balance of firmness, but also still having that spring that lets it fly off a stick and just jump off when it's fired. And of course, you have to add that black color that is iconic where it just stands out on the ice. And all of these components are first mixed together multiple times through multiple stages to ensure an even blend before they are placed into a mold and compressed, like I was saying, to force it to all be dense and to create those new bonds, force as much of that mass and matter into the smallest place possible while it's heated to form that disc shape. Of course, then it is cured once again under heat with some of that bonding material and pressurized to make sure it hardens. But hockey is played in the cold, so you do have to cool it off so it holds that form. And then every puck has to go through quality testing. But where the fun fact started and how I went on this own journey of making sure I understood how a puck was made is that regulation game pucks are also always frozen before they are used in a game. And the purpose of this is to reduce bouncing so it will slide, or maybe glide is a better word for it, across the ice. And so as they get warm during play, they will need to be changed out because they're more likely to have damage, to be broken, or to lose some of that rip off a stick, but also become more bouncy both off of the board. So you actually get less control because the diamonds, as there's heat and the outer rim expands, you have less control on the stick for shot control because it's no longer as circular or perfectly smooth. Those little diamonds will have little cracks in them. But then the rest of it does bounce more off of the ice and more off of the board. So in any given game, you can expect that at least a dozen pucks will be used, and there is a mini fridge kept by or within the penalty box with dozens, and I say dozens, multiple, of frozen pucks that are swapped in by officials every few minutes as they thaw. So in the modern game, like I said, you could be using anywhere from 12 to 15 pucks a game on average. And they do sometimes with the different logos and coatings on them that, depending on if it's a specialized puck, like we see with these different custom logos that are larger compared to the normal one, sometimes that can impact the wear and tear with increasing whether or not they'll warm up faster or if there's more visible damage, forcing them to be turned out or changed out sooner. But the important part of all of this is throughout the game and before the game, pucks are constantly frozen to keep them as consistent as possible, make sure they slide as fast and smooth on the ice, and keep them from bouncing unpredictably in those awkward goals that nobody really likes unless they happen for your team. So thank you for joining me on this journey into the hockey puck. And Corey, I feel like you might have said something and it cut out with my audio, so I'm sorry if I cut you off. If there's anything you'd like to add about the hockey puck, please let me know.
No worries. Nothing cut off there, but the pucks are frozen, never fresh. They're not like Wendy's beef, fresh, never frozen. These are frozen, never fresh.
Yeah. Frozen, never fresh. This is some, I don't want to slander any businesses, but pick the one you know best at home for those of you. And I think everyone knows which one I'm thinking of if you really put your mind to the task of what is always frozen and never fresh.
Yeah, but I genuinely did not know that. So thank you for that information. And I mean, I'm having like one of those revelation moments because I always see the refs over in the penalty box, like talking to the guys with the headsets on and grabbing a puck. I never knew that there was a little mini fridge in there where the pucks were kept. And if they think it reduces bounciness, they are full of shit. Literally, as you said that, I watched the puck bounce across the ice in the Sharks-Kraken game. So, sure.
Well, it's not a perfect science, but it does embrace the thermodynamics and heat transfer to try and predict and minimize bounce just from those natural factors that are going to occur.
Uh-oh, we're getting into nerd speak, which means we got to end this episode. The clock is counting down to the final horn. We really appreciate you taking the time to listen to this episode of the Captain Avalanche Fancast. If you have something you want to know about the Avalanche, Sharks, or just hockey in general, reach out to us on our socials or email, and we'll be happy to try and answer it. We would love to hear and read your thoughts on our Instagram. The best thing you can do if you like what we're doing here is to follow us on whatever platform you're using and to share this podcast everywhere you can with everyone you can. I'm Captain Avalanche Corey.
And I'm Dom the Nerd from the Tank.
Check out our new episodes every week. Thanks, everyone.